Talk your shit and shut up. Jeffery Berry, Karamel. What's up there to the stuff there? Super!
Hello, welcome to Talk Your Shit or Shut Up with Gabby the Goddess and your host, Karamel.
Yes, this is Karamel.
Yeah, so we are so excited. This is going to be the best podcast, the best video podcast. Everybody's going to love it. But our mission here is really to shine a light on our culture and to bring up all the important information and topics that's more important to us as a people.
Yes, we definitely want to help with our communities and be a resource for them. So we plan on having great guests, great talk, great conversations, all that great stuff.
Lots of laughs, smiles, fun. Then come here, this is the go-to spot. You're gonna love it, so stay tuned. We got some great guests coming up. Today we're actually going to have Mr. Jeffery Berry, and he is the campaign manager for Mr. Peter Sherrill. He's going to be a new write-in candidate for president. Right now, that is what we need. The Democrat Party, Republican Party, they really don't have our back as a community. So I'm just really excited to be a part of the campaign and to push it and to just get this out here.
But yeah, so we're definitely gonna have Mr. Jeffery here to talk more about the campaign and about the presidential candidate, as well as the important things that he does as well. So in a few minutes, we'll be right on back with you. So check out this promo video though.
This shit out the chain, shawty. Be gorgeous, yeah.
Peasant out, Pluto.
The diamond be gorgeous, This shit out the chain, I'm smoking that Dodge. It's straight to the brain, These niggas unloyal, He brought no reminders, I thought that I told you, We not here for games, My bitch, she be gorgeous, Fuck a good beat the brain, Say I drove her insane, 200 cat chain, Millie walk to the books, Time to fuck up the game, Any shit for the books, You only in it for fun, Throwing dirt on my name, they know I'm hot, see the flame, they wanna fuck with a peak.
Welcome back to Talk Your Shit or Shut Up. We actually had our first guest of the day, Mr. Jeffery Berry. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, it's a pleasure. We really want to know more about you. So tell us what's going on with you, with the campaign, with your gallery. I know you got a lot going on.
Yes, it's interesting during this day and time to be in business and just to live and exist within this environment that they've created with this COVID-19. So with everyone in turmoil, their hands up in the air trying to figure things out, I've learned patience in my years on this earth to just sit back and watch, listen, learn, and try to sift out through the bull stuff and understand exactly what's going on. So what I've done is I've established the art gallery here in Beverly Hills, Chicago, where people can come and display their art. It's available for artists. If you want poetry, spoken word, jazz, blues, birthday parties, wedding receptions, and all kinds of events. And it's open, for people to do that once all this pandemic is over. And in that light, that's what I'm doing basically. And from doing this in Chicago, I was contacted by the campaign strategist to assist Mr. Peter Sherrill, former Executive Director of Homeland Security, to run for president. And under this day and time, what better person to be a president than Homeland Security? Because that's where everybody's in fear, living in fear. I don't want to get this, everybody's running around with masks on, scared to touch people, scared to do everything. So, You have a black man, Homeland Security, qualified, 25 years in corporate New York, 2 terms, Executive Director of Homeland Security, and now you have to accept certain things. People in Homeland Security at the Executive Director level know things that we don't know. And they may not be at liberty to say it, but if a man stands up under this day and time where they're persecuting black men just for being black men, and say that he wants to be the President of the United States, that's a hell of a statement. Because you have 2 parties. You have the Republican Party and you have the Democratic Party. And neither one of those parties have been favorable to African Americans or descendants of the slave trade. Neither one.
They did not have
You know, so we've even had a black president, but nothing stopped during the black presidency. Obama was the president for 8 years, and their administration spent like $10.4 trillion. Now, in 8 years, a black president spending $10.8 trillion. I think within that $10 trillion, which has never been spent in 8 years in the history of the world, we could have got $1 trillion for reparations if his administration had our best interests at heart. But we got nothing for reparations because that's the party's way, not his way. You know, so we have to deal with the reality of this and quit accepting what they offer us because they have never offered us anything. You know?
So that is the difference of the right-wing candidate to be a third party from Democratic and Republican.
Yeah, well, in this case, the third party are us, the people. It's not an agenda other than to survive, other than to have fresh and clean food and water. That's the basics. You know, a lot of candidates, you know, like right now, Donald Trump's campaign has raised $670 million. Why? Because they're buying votes. They're not utilizing their buy-sell tactics, but they're buying votes. Why do you need all that money? If you're going to run for a campaign, all you have to do is let people know what it is that you're doing.
That's true. Let them know what you stand for.
What you stand for. Votes, when you go to the ballot box, you don't go with money or without money. You just go and fill in who you want to vote for and keep going. But when you know that you're corrupt, and you know that you have an agenda that's sinister, you got to pay people to be quiet, pay people to stay out the way, pay people to go along with the program, so you got to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't need hundreds of millions of dollars. All we know is the vote. Once we get the vote, the agenda will change in relations to the Democratic and the Republican, which is the exact same thing. You know, only difference between the Democratic and the Republican is a donkey and an elephant. That's it. Just as simple. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it is. In reality, let's look at it in reality. Everybody says that success is when you make money. That's a successful business, it's making money. Yes. The United States of America is a business. It's a business. It's registered in Delaware. It's a company. Just like this company. Just like you all's company. Anybody's company. It's just the same. But they're $26 trillion in debt. People don't even talk about the debt. They talk about COVID-19 and Black Lives Matter. It's a hard sell. Black Lives Matter is a hard sell. Because they just shot a 1-year-old kid a couple of days ago. They just shot a 3-year-old kid a couple of days ago. These are blacks killing blacks. So when you want to sell Black Lives Matter, to me, it's just like when Jesse Jackson was selling the Rainbow Push Coalition. Because now white folks are giving Black Lives Matter money, which means they're buying Black Lives Matter. Because we've had the same thing over. We've had this. It's nothing new. Black Lives Matter is not new. It used to be called We Shall Overcome. Now it's Black Lives Matter. It's just a change of the name. They're doing the same thing. They marching down the streets, they burning down buildings, and then we suffer.
If you know your truth about history, history repeats itself.
Over
And like
and
you
over.
said, this is relation to like what they did in 1968. They tore down everything, and then there was no rebuilding of it. I guess I'm curious to see at this point what our communities are going to do different, because I just feel like if we don't have any unity as far as coming together, we can't build anything. Because if everybody has their own separate agenda, it's hard to come with one plan and to get it done. So I'm just wondering, like with the presidential candidate, has he addressed some of that at this point?
Yeah, well, the reality of it, and I'm going to deal with this campaign all the way through November 3rd and November 4th and November 5th. 2021. To me, I'm a campaign manager for a movement, and he's the president of the movement. But if he's in the office or if he's not in the office, the movement is going to continue and to grow. Because if you build any kind of building or any kind of business and the foundation is crooked, everything is going to be crooked.
Right.
And it's not balanced. Now, we keep believing as black people that white people are our savior. The whole system shut down. Now, here's what people don't say. The system was created, developed, and administered daily by the people from Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, Princeton, the finest universities in the world. And we $26 trillion a day. That just lets you know the wisest of the best Ivy League schools might be the dumbest when it comes to reality.
Wow.
Because this is reality we're dealing with. A $26 trillion debt is reality. COVID-19 is reality. The problem that I have with the Democrats and the Republicans is both agree that the year 2030, the debt will be $36 trillion, which means they have no interest or no way to pay it back or to stop the debt from growing. So if a president-elect tells you, all I'm going to do is just take money and spend it from the Congress stimulus package, because I don't know how, they're both almost 80 years old and don't know how to grow nothing. If they did, Biden's been in the Senate 40 years. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's new to the game. So they give you two dead men, literally, when it comes to economic stimulus, and say that it's going to get better. How? They can't even get it right for themselves. How can they get it right for us? So if a man comes along and says, I'm with Homeland Security, I'm a black man, I'm a realist. I watched Obama. I know what's going on behind the scenes. I can fix this. I don't really want to ask him how. I want to give him the opportunity to do it and I assist him in that. Because I know he may not be able to tell me certain things. Because I know certain things I wouldn't be able to tell him in the financial world. So when you get to that point in that level where you're dealing with presidential candidates, when you're dealing with countries, governance, of economic stimulus packages, bailout money, all that's our money. They're just spending now for our children to repay. But our children are going to pay a $50 trillion debt with this foundation. This foundation collapsed. When you get to the point where you can't go to church, why do you want things to get back to normal? Normal was leading up to the collapse.
Right.
Yes, it was.
That's what collapsed. Normal.
Yeah.
And you got these brothers running around telling me, man, I'll be glad when we get back to normal. Normal's dead.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can't get back to something that's dead. It's gone. So when you get to the point of understanding and accepting truth, then you will understand why I became the campaign manager. Because I'm going to give you the truth whether you like it or not. The truth of the matter is, black people give white people power. They can trick us into I'm going to speak truth to power. Who are you talking to? Because I know Trump don't have no power. You catch Trump one-on-one. Let's see what you come up with. You understand?
Yes.
You catch Biden one-on-one. See what you there? That's no power there. Because they can kill you, that's not power. Because they can blow your country up, that's not power. That's sinister.
Yes.
That's death. That's symbolic of a satanic force of destruction. So when you understand this is what you up against and this is what you're dealing with, and you know, I've been running into people saying, well, I think if you get him to run, he's going to split the vote between Biden and Trump. It doesn't make a difference. And both of them represent the same ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep, and you're
You
right.
know what I'm
about
saying?
that.
It's the same ordinance. So that's why they have a two-party system. Okay, you play 8 years, and I play 8 years. You notice that's how it's been going for the past 4 or 5
And you're right
years.
about that.
Obama get 8 years, Bush get 8 years, Trump probably get 8 years. It's not Trump that people should be complaining about. He's the dummy in the front.
Of course, it's the people in the
It's
background.
the people in the back that's giving him the voice to say anything because it really doesn't matter what he says.
True.
Because with $26 trillion in debt, he can get on. He said this in the beginning of his presidency. I could walk down to New York and shoot somebody and want nobody to do nothing. And that's true. Why would somebody do something when the whole world is going to hate? To him. For what? They just killed 100,000 people plus with this COVID. Like you said, it didn't walk over here. Somebody sent that over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And guess what? They say it's coming back. How do you know if you don't have something to do with it?
Exactly.
You know,
It's
people are
supposed to be
dealing with the
science.
reality of, oh, in October, it's going to come back on October the 12th. Okay.
How do you know that?
How do you know it's coming back October the 12th?
Yeah.
How
It's
is
a
it?
patent virus that was created and put out.
Yeah, and it's been, whatever it is, satanically modified. And you just got to use it because that's all it does is cause death. And that's what Satan does, cause death. The last thing that God destroyed was death. So if death still exists, it doesn't have anything to do with God. So if you don't have anything to do with God and you don't know anything about God, then you're going to follow death around because he can make things look sweet. That's what he did with Jesus on top of the hill. He said, I give you all these kingdoms if you bow down and worship me. We have bowed down and worshiped these forces that we call power. I don't see them having power. The only power on this planet Earth is the Holy Spirit. Even Satan has to go get permission to do things to us. Sure. He doesn't have the power. But we keep giving this white man power. He doesn't even want the power because he's killing us. You understand what I'm saying? We march into his house looking for something that he doesn't have.
But the sad part is he's killing himself too. This is what I never understood how they do. Because I've noticed us as a people, and I'm talking about black people, we look out for our youngins, our futures to come. Even though they say they do, a lot of times they don't. A lot of times they're in the selfish mentality of, well, I'm living today and it's about me, so who cares about the next generation? And I see that as the biggest thing, especially when they have nuclear wars. How can you bomb another nation or bomb other people and not think about your own offspring? Because what you put out there, it comes back to you.
It's balance.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's what they're afraid of right now because, you know, over the dispensation of decades in the United States of America, they have sown a lot of seeds of sinister and nefarious events and acts. And it's balancing itself out. And when you look at the people that are doing it versus the people that they are doing it to, you have to accept the fact that they put on the money, which is their whole thing, is money. You know what I mean? It's all about money. On the United States dollar, it says, in God we trust. The money is white people's God. okay? And when you have more of their God than they do, they don't like that. Because they know that it's not your God, it's their God. And they can only compete with you and trick you if they trick you into believing that your God is their God. And they have done that successfully. You know, I saw the black billionaires, the rappers, and the artists, and they formed a thing called the $1 Billion Boys Club, the $1 Billion Club. And as soon as they posted the $1 Billion Club, Trump said, okay, well, you won't be playing football this year. You won't be doing no concerts this year. They shut all that down because now they advertise. You understand? They advertise that they got these billions of dollars. Now, if they were smart brothers, they would take those billions of dollars and go back to the communities and build up their communities like they did in the Black Wall Street. We should have a Black Wall Street in every black community, in every black neighborhood, self-sufficient. And if they could do it in 1929, 1935, 1945, on 47th Street in the 60s, we could do it in every city that has a metropolis of black people successfully if we intellectually in tune with life.
And that goes back to what Karamel said. What is a plan? We all have different agendas and we're not on the same page. How can we finally, as a black community, overcome, you know?
Well, you know, the we shall overcome is singing that you're going to overcome something that's in front of you. We put it in front of us. We don't have to overcome anything. We just have to stop worshiping Satan's gods.
Sure. That's very
You understand? We worship Satan and his gods. And regarding, you know, they say, well, I got enough money. Just like you said, well, I'm living today. You know, everybody's concerned with, now they don't give a damn about their kids and their grandkids. They picked up the spirit of Satan.
Yeah.
Satan don't care about his kids and grandkids. You know what I'm saying? The only thing they try to do is get at that bag. That's it. You know, and that's what these niggas are killing each other on the streets, trying to get at that bag. You on my corner. You on down that corner. It's going to be your corner. And then somebody else is going to come on down that corner. It's the same corner. So when we understand what we really dealing with and accept what we really dealing with, the plan is in the Bible.
It definitely is.
It's been there for thousands of years. It ain't nothing new and it's nothing going to be new. You know what I'm saying? He said.
With that being said, I'm sorry for cutting you off because we got to definitely go on the break, you know, and give it a few moments, but hold that thought because, I see you getting deep there. Definitely started getting deep there.
Some great conversation.
Yes.
We will be back after this quick break. Great conversation. Welcome back. We are having some deep conversation with Mr. Jeffery Berry.
Yes.
This man is full of information.
Yes, he is.
Oh my God. On air, off air, we got just great conversation going. But I really did want him to expound on the COVID-19 and what it does to the body, foods that we can eat, things that we can do to help prevent us from getting sick, you know, or at least to help us to fight off and build our immune system. So tell us more.
Yes.
Well, you know, first and foremost, COVID-19 is in the United States coming through China for a reason, and it all goes back to the economy. Everything is tied to money. Money is the root of all evil. COVID-19 is evil. It kills. But if we are biblically correct and we elevate our alkaline intake and we balance our immune system and remove the mucus that germinates into promoting this virus in the system, it'll pass right through. because as soon as this hits the stomach, the acid's gonna eat it up. So if stomach acid could kill it, it's not that strong. It's not like cyanide or anthrax, anything like that. But it's, if you keep it strong, some people had COVID-19 and didn't go to the hospitals, and it cleared itself up with herbs and things of that nature. But you have to be on top of it. It has to be in the system.
You mentioned a key thing, your digestive system has to be on point. And there's so many things that we do that messes up our digestive system. So with that being said, I definitely want you to get into the details of how we can keep a strong digestive system so that our immune systems are able to do what it needs to do to fight off that disease.
Yeah, you know, the first thing that you really want to do is drink a lot of water and detox. Get a lot of lemons in your body, get a lot of oranges and grapefruit, get a lot of vitamin C. And a lot of people do this now that are older, but they drink apple cider vinegar water. One of the oldest remedies in the world is take 4 or 5 cloves of garlic, put it in a big jar, and just sip a little garlic every day. All that breaks down the mucus in your body. If you can break down the mucus in your body, your bowel movements are going to be regular, your system is going to flow regular, your blood is going to be thinner so it flows smoother, and all these things will rapidly flow through your body. But when you eat a lot of bulky foods, a lot of meats, it takes a long time to break that down. And then the mucus builds up in your lungs, in your chest, in your cavity, in your nostrils, especially when you lay down, the mucus just floats up and down your body. So then things get a chance to take hold because there's nothing moving. It's just like anything else. If you keep pork in your body for almost 2 months before it all leaves because of the grease factor, it absorbs into the fatty cells, it absorbs into the intestines, and it just sticks with you. You know, that's why I said don't eat it. I can tell you it tastes great. I haven't eaten it since I was about 17 or 18, but I still remember the taste and I remember the smell of bacon in the morning. I love that smell, but I just understand the effects of it. So if you just eat properly, and if you eat less food that's greasy, less cheeses, less dairy products, you won't build up the mucus that all flus and viruses attach to or creates within their own. Because mucus, everything is built on mucus.
And this is something that's going to be challenging for the Black community because we have had such an awful diet since, before time. All these young kids that eat the flaming hides with the cheese and the meat and, like you said, the bacon, you gotta have the smothered pork chops, all that stuff, all the butter and the sweet potatoes and all that stuff that we feel like that's our food. But it's not our food.
True, it's not what we should be eating, but in today's day and time, everybody's on fast food, microwave, everybody wants to right quick. You know what I mean? Mama and them are cooking in the kitchen like they used to.
Processed food,
the kids
everything
are
is
not
frozen.
learning how to cook from mama because mama's not learning how to cook. So, our first plan for the presidential candidate is to secure farmers. Black farmers. We're going after them right now. We're not advertising that because we're doing it. White folks love to put, this is what we're doing. Vote for me. I don't want nobody to know what we're doing. I want Black people to know what we're doing and participate. If you got a grandfather, he got some land down in Alabama and Mississippi and he's losing it to taxes, let us know. We go get it. We'll fix it up, we'll build it up, and everybody start eating organic foods. You know what I mean? The price won't dictate a war in China, or is it the boat make it over here, or is there some chemicals in it? One thing I don't understand is the Food and Drug Administration. Food and drugs don't go together. But they put the drug in the food.
Yep.
So they put the administration together. But see, that's something that we don't even look at.
And that's true.
That's the first thing I told Peter Sherrill. I said, hey, why is the Food and Drug Administration together? They don't go together. What about the Food and Water Administration?
Exactly.
They go together. But food and drugs, they don't go together. So they letting you know,
But you know why.
enjoy your food.
But you know why they do that. And it's not that they put the drugs in food. If they can control the food supply and how they make the food, that's gonna be the aim and the goal at how our people survive. How people survive, period. Because if you're damaging the food, that means you're not getting the nutrients you need to your body. So therefore, that means you're gonna need some type of drug to help you. And that's where the big business, the drugs come in.
Yeah.
That's where the big pharmacies are making this big money because of things
money
like
coming
that.
back into play.
Yeah, it's all about money. You already said that. That's the root of all evil. So yeah.
Same thing. So it's a vicious cycle. So when you get to the point of understanding that they advertise, we spraying chemicals on the plants. We got grapes with no seeds in it. We got watermelon with no seeds.
The fruits with no seed. That was never meant to be. If it cannot reproduce, guess what? That means it's not natural and it's not meant to be.
The scripture says that I made all foods with seeds for you that are good upon the face of the earth. If you don't have seeds, it's no good. It's not of God, it's of something else. You know what I mean? So when you're dealing with this people, they give you all the signs that they're not of the God in Genesis chapter 1. They're of a God that they adopt, or they create, or they worship. I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in bringing my people back to ourselves. Because like you said, if we all come together and there's a plan for all of us to come together, then we could do it. I look at it this way. Let that second wave of COVID-19 hit and 45 million people unemployed and a stimulus check don't come. Everybody gonna have a plan to survive. You understand? Because the people that have it, got it. The people that don't have it, they going to get it. Whether it's in Walmart or whether it's in the wall of your house, they going to get it. And it's nothing like survival.
When you take people's freedom, you can't go outside, you can't go gambling, you can't go and have you a drink at the bar, you can't work, we close down all the businesses. Most black people and brown people are the ones, we can't work from home, we're not typing on computers, and so we're the ones that's gonna get hit first as it is. But how do they think we're gonna survive? It's gonna be the looting. That was gonna happen regardless. George Floyd, in my opinion, is that if you can't work, you don't have food, you're gonna start doing the steal, you're gonna start tearing up the city, and so that's all we know is how to, most black people, if you don't have a job, we're gonna find a way to do it. And it might be from stealing, it might be from knocking somebody over the head, and that is the last thing that we need.
The beautiful part about COVID-19 is now black people are finding out how dysfunctional their families are. Stay at home. You know what I mean? They find out how twisted they are. Man, I ain't talked to my sister or talked to my brother in 4 months. Now they call us, you okay? Yeah, because everybody's on lock.
But it's not even more than that. I said this because I'm a school teacher. I teach adults, but I've also taught teenagers at the high school level. Yeah, now these mamas and daddies see who they choose off the real. Seriously. Because all the parents had this notion, my child was the same. My child would never do this. My child won't do that. Now you see your child up close and personal. Do you really like your child? I just want to ask that.
It's definitely been challenging with the homeschool, e-learning. Once my son goes back to school, his teacher is going to get a gift.
See, that's why not, but that's a good thing. People are starting to appreciate what teachers do because teachers do a lot because they're not only teaching your child, they're raising your children as well. Because your children spend more time with them than they do at the homes most of the time.
Right, that's right. And not only that, but you have children corresponding with other children that you have to monitor individually and collectively and safely. You see what I mean? A lot of parents, they just sleep on the couch and don't know what they see and really don't care. Because a lot of the parents nowadays are dysfunctional parents. You know, the alcohol and the drugs and things of that nature. And then they find it out now, your kids in sophomore high school, yeah, they smoking weed, yeah, they different school, yeah, this is that. So COVID-19 in God's way, it's a balance. He's saying, now, like you just stated, see, your son ain't what you thought he was. Your daughter ain't what you thought she was. So now these things are more important to family values to make corrections.
Yes.
Based on what I feel for my daughter or what I feel for my son. And it's an oxymoron because mom and dad can't go out either.
Right.
So everybody just got to suffer.
Everybody
Some marriages, you find out that some folk go to work in another city because they don't like their spouse.
That's why they said the divorce rate is up, and domestic violence, child abuse, all of that is up.
That's the new world order. You better get with your family. And if you don't get with your family, you're going to be out of order. And out of order sometimes means you're canceled out. Because a lot of people that you used to see running around homeless and acting crazy downtown, they ain't down there. That's why they say stay in the house. They're going to clean up. Believe me, it's a lot of people that certain people don't want floating around downtown. You know, they let the bridges up so could nobody get in there.
Let them get to them towers. You know what I'm talking about.
That's what they protected.
All the folks underground, what's that, wagon drive? A lot of them ain't under there. All of them had COVID-19. Whether they had it or not, they had COVID-19.
Wow.
See, you gotta understand, Satan is never gonna be the same.
But now, have you all heard about that contact tracing? What they're doing is contact tracing gave them the right to be able to come into your homes and test you and remove your child or your elderly from your home if you have COVID-19. That's how they're separating the families now.
They can separate a lot of people like that because I know some people, if you walk up in their home, that's what you're gonna find. Right over there, believe me, nobody coming, you're not coming up in my home. And if you do come in, you're welcome. Stay a while. Hope you let somebody know where you're going, but they might not find. You got to understand what Satan is. Satan is not playing with us. Satan didn't play with Iraq. Satan didn't play with the Jews. Satan didn't play with the Japanese people. They dropped a bomb over there. See, when Satan comes for you, he comes for you. And you can march, we shall overcome. You can have Black Lives Matter. You can have any cause you want. Satan's just going to look at you. Because he's not listening to you. He has an agenda. See, there's one thing that we have to realize. Satan plans in 30-year increments. Do you know grocery stores know what you're going to eat before you bring it? Because they put the groceries out there for you. They grow them months in advance with the chicken. They know how much chicken you're going to eat because they're going to put enough chicken out there for you to buy. They got chicken out there. It's big. They're like turkeys. You know what I mean? And they know that somebody's going to buy it. And they go, look at that big old chicken because you're going to eat more chicken. You know, but these are just tricks that they do to elevate their bottom line back to the money.
That's why we are really excited about backing Peter Shore. I feel like he'll have our best intentions. This campaign, I just know it's going to be amazing, and we all just need to get behind it, start pushing it as much as we can. I really appreciate you for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Oh my God,
Thank you.
You just gave us all so much knowledge, and we can't wait to have you back soon because I know And maybe have Peter come on.
Yeah, that would be
I'm
great.
bringing him down
Yes.
and I'll make sure you got a good chance to sit down with him and understand this if you don't understand anything else. That God is still in control.
Definitely. Definitely.
Regardless of COVID-19, 20, 21, 22, God's people gonna walk right through it.
Yep.
Just gotta stay focused, understand who you are, do what it is that your heart tells you to do. And being behind Peter Sherrill to me is like being with Peter Sherrill because he can get COVID-19 anyway. He can get hit by anybody else. But we all need to come up under one umbrella.
Yes, definitely.
And even after the election, keep growing together.
Yes.
So we've been in contact with all the black churches, the Hindu churches. We're looking at all the churches in SCLC as our root into the community. And I'm not selling Jesus, I'm not selling religion. I just need points of contact when our people need some fresh, clean water and some fresh, clean food. Because if you don't have that, nothing else matters. And that's my agenda on the campaign. Make sure the food is good, clean, organic, and we have access to it.
Well, we will be looking forward to hearing about fundraisers and any events that you all will be having to push the campaign. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
Yes,
so
we
much.
truly appreciate it. And we'll have his contact information on the website as well as other information so that you can find out more about the candidate.
As well as the Beverly Hills Art Gallery.
Yes.
Yes, and we thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yes.
This was
Thank you.
Gabby the Goddess
And your girl Karamel.
with Talk Your Shit or Shut Up.
Yes.